The man who carried bricks. There was a man in our town who walked differently than the rest of us. He had a limp on his right side, a slight drag in his step like something was pulling him back. People called him Bricky because he always carried 2 bricks in his old leather bag. He didn't talk much, just nodded, smiled, and moved on. He worked at the train station, cleaning floors and emptying bins. When I was a kid, I used to watch him from behind the ticket counter where my uncle worked. Every morning, like clockwork, Bricky arrived at 6 a.m. with his brick-filled bag. He'd place it carefully under the bench at the far end of the platform, roll up his sleeves, and start sweeping. No one ever asked him about the bricks. Maybe because we didn't care, or maybe because we thought we already knew. Some folks assumed he was just odd. Others whispered that he'd lost his mind after a tragedy. But no one asked, including me. That changed the summer I turned 17. I had failed my final exams. Everyone else in my class celebrated, throwing parties and taking trips. I stayed home, embarrassed. I had never failed anything before. I was supposed to go to university like my older brother. I was supposed to make my family proud. Instead, I spent my mornings hiding in the attic and my afternoons pacing the streets, unsure of what to do. One afternoon, I ended up at the station. It was quiet. Just the sound of pigeons and the occasional echo of a train whistle in the distance. Bricky was there, mopping the floor near the ticket machines. He noticed me sitting alone on a bench and gave me a small wave. Then he walked over. He didn't ask why I looked miserable. He didn't ask what I was doing there. He simply sat beside me, slowly placed his old bag on the ground, and opened it. Inside were the 2 bricks. One red, chipped at the corner, the other gray, smooth like it had been held 1,000 times. He picked them up, one in each hand, and said, "You know why I carry these?" I shook my head. "This one," he said, lifting the red one, "was the last brick I laid when I built my house." Then he lifted the gray one. "And this one was the first brick that hit me when it collapsed." I stared at him, confused. He smiled gently. "I used to be a mason, built houses for 20 years. One day, the building I was working on came down. Faulty structure. My leg got crushed. I lost everything: work, health, confidence. People thought I was finished." He paused, rolling the bricks in his hands. "But here's what I learned," he said, placing them gently back in the bag. "The same hands that built something beautiful also held the wreckage when it fell. You don't throw away the memory of what you built just because it broke. And you don't carry the weight of the fall forever either." I didn't know what to say. He stood up, picked up his bag, and added, "I carry both bricks to remind me. What I built mattered, and what fell taught me more than anything else." Then he limped away. That conversation stayed with me. For weeks I thought about those bricks, the symbols they held, how they weren't just reminders of success or failure, but both carried side by side. For the first time, I realized maybe failure wasn't the opposite of achievement. Maybe it was part of it. Eventually, I took a job at a local mechanic shop. It wasn't university, but I loved fixing things. I liked using my hands, making broken parts whole again. Slowly, I found joy. And then, purpose. I saved money, studied on the side, and years later opened my own repair garage. I named it 2 Bricks. People thought it was a quirky name, only I knew the story. Years passed, Bricky grew older, and one day, he stopped coming to the station. No one knew where he went. Some said he moved in with relatives. Others believed he passed quietly in his sleep. His bag was never found, but I remember him every day. I keep 2 bricks on my work desk, a red one and a gray one. When customers ask about them, I smile and say, one built a dream, the other broke it. I carry both to remember what matters. Sometimes we try too hard to forget our failures, thinking they ruin our story. But maybe they are part of the story. Maybe they show us more about ourselves than success ever could. What we build is important, but how we carry what's broken is what shapes us. So carry both bricks, not to weigh you down, but to keep you grounded. Because wisdom doesn't come from standing tall. It comes from learning how to walk again, brick in hand.